Welcome everybody, and I'm going to try and get untangled here a bit. All right, so we've got a kind of full program tonight. We've got a lot of little things to announce, and I think somebody has something up his sleeve that he wants to announce later or show. We'll do that shortly. So, really appreciate everybody bringing dishes to eat and to share. In a little bit, we're going to talk about why this is really cool and what we're going to do with your favorite entrees, salads, side dishes, and desserts. We've got a fun little project coming up. And I want to thank Jonathan for filming our meeting this month. And he will get it edited and posted, and it'll be up for your viewing pleasure on YouTube. So hello, everybody watching.
Could I ask, do we have a YouTube channel?
Yes.
We do. We have a BASK
website?
Is it like cartoons for most of the day?
Hey, Jonathan, what's
It
the...
is. Well, so the URL is obscure because we need 100 people to subscribe to it before YouTube will give us YouTube/Bay Area Sea Kayakers. So if you go, I will send the URL out on Buzz, and if you could all subscribe and we reach more than 100, then we can apply to get a nice URL.
We've got to be close because you said 95.
Yeah, we might be close. So yeah,
Just need a few more.
but it'll be a link I'll send out when I get it done.
So if you haven't subscribed, go tonight and do it, and we'll have our own name.
And I'll put in some cartoons, Johnny. Okay.
And thank you to Bill for, is he here tonight?
Was that the July?
That was the July planning meeting. Thank you very much. I did this a little quickly.
That's okay.
But he graciously hosted us at his home in Greenbrae, and his dog Snickers helped. And awesome dog that apparently likes to move concrete back and forth in the house. So we got to see where the stash of concrete was. But they have a lovely home, and really appreciated them hosting the meeting. And we want to meet anybody who's new to BASK, new to a BASK meeting, hasn't been here for a very long time and wants to reintroduce themselves. So not only raise your hand, I want you to come up here. So if you'll come up and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself. You can use that as a cheat sheet. Is anybody else?
Hey everybody.
I'll help you.
So my mother named me Alex. And I live close by here, mid market, like 8th and Mission. Heard about BASK on the website, just Google.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and well, I've been kayaking, I'd say maybe 6 months a year. Not really in the Bay Area. And I'm pretty greenhorn, so just kind of trying to get into it. I don't own a kayak, and I've mostly been paddling like in Northern Europe.
Oh,
Yeah.
not too shabby.
Great.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Maureen, and this is my husband Mike. Can you remember the two M's? I guess we've been stalking BASK for several years. We finally made it to a meeting, so we're excited. We live on Mount Davidson, and we heard about BASK online, right? And we've been kayaking. I think we got certified in 1999. Is that right?
That's when we did our first lesson.
Yeah, and we love to kayak here, Tomales Bay. We've had some memorable kayak camping trips on Tomales Bay, and we've kayaked a lot of places. Mike can help me remember where. Last week?
We try to kayak anytime we take a vacation somewhere. So last week we were in Kauai. We did some kayaking.
Oh, nice.
No problem.
Warm water.
Yeah, that was great. And we do not have kayaks yet, but we're interested in buying them, so we would love advice. So thank you.
He just opened Pandora's box.
I'm looking for a kayak for a smaller person because I wobble in the boat. So. Anything else?
I think that's covered everything.
Nice to meet you. I'm Beth. I was trying to wait a note here, but I had to go. I live in San Francisco, and I'm a beginner. I've been out a few times, but I just really liked kayaking. So a friend of mine who is a kayaker told me about this group, but I just came to find out about it. So I don't have a kayak. I'm a beginner. I've been out a few times on the ocean or an estuary, and I just really liked it. And that's it.
Welcome. Well, welcome everybody, and it looks like there's huge kayak influence opportunities to be had here. You know, so often we'll paddle out of places where you can rent a kayak. It's great to try out different kayaks. A lot of folks in the club have more than one. A few of us have more than one, and generally are pretty generous about allowing folks to check out the boats that they have and go with them and see what fits and feels good. So one boat works great for one person, another boat works great for another person. So it's cool to try out a bunch of different things. So welcome. And now it's time for announcements. Gordon, do you want your couple of minutes now?
I have an announcement. Show of hands, who are skills clinic volunteers this year? Hold those hands up while we solve the mystery of the box. That box contains things, and indeed the box itself is quite precious to one Chris Lewis, who is hosting you all this weekend at her home, and because she is preparing her home for you, she cannot be here. And so we ask that one of you take that box home with you and take to Chris's house with you when you go there this weekend. Volunteers may seem great. Thank you very much.
This is not what I thought it was going to be. He is tricksy.
I'll tell you.
So,
Okay, the mystery of the box should be solved. There's the spray skirt. There are 2 kayak straps, putting the kayak on the roof topping, and there's a bunch of packing material because that box is important to ship Chris's paddles.
what kind of spray skirt is it?
So the box is
Just asking. Okay, so recent paddles. I don't know if y'all recall last month when we looked at the July calendar, it was pretty sparse. And after the meeting, suddenly things started cropping up on the calendar, and we had a really full month of a lot of fun paddles and a lot of interesting paddles. Yeah, looking at Sally. But it's amazing to see the variety of paddles that we can have, anywhere from flat water to a little bit of excitement to a little bit of practice. So it's nice to see so much going on and a lot to offer. Is there anybody that wants to talk about the paddles, like a paddle they were on or a paddle they initiated? No.
I'll just say to the newcomers, there's always a lot of paddles that aren't necessarily on the event list. So you know, as you network and as you kind of get to know people, you'll kind of find what is right for you, and you know, you kind of join a group, and then people tell you about those paddles. So.
Well, one thing to keep in mind too is all of the paddles that are on this list are on the BASK calendar. I can't go through all the Buzz emails and read through all of it and figure out what's going on. It's easier for me to use the calendar. And typically, BASK paddle will be posted on Buzz and on the calendar. So anything that's a club paddle, you'll see up on there. I hope people are getting into practice on posting it in both places. And if you want the Initiator Award for every quarter, it's got to be on the calendar, because otherwise I won't know. Right?
Especially for the new people, you should mention how to get on the Buzz list, because you'll see paddles come up the next day or in a couple of days that won't be on this.
Krista, catching you with a bite in your mouth. as far as getting on the buzz
It's on the
list?
website. Once you join as a member of BASK, the members only section of the website has our calendar, and it has a page that tells you how to subscribe to Buzz, which is the email list. So all you have to do is join and go to the website, and it's all there. And if you get stuck, there's people you can ask. There's addresses to write to on the website. There's a big FAQ that explains everything, if you like to read.
Right, there's a BASK 101 page too, that tells
Yeah, it
everything a new
explains the
person would
clubs.
want to know.
Yep, there's information on new member paddles, information on initiating paddles, all kinds of really good information, stuff about the environment.
Cool. The key thing for being on Buzz and seeing what's happening on the calendar is being a member. So the folks that are new, if you haven't joined yet, now's your opportunity to join and get all that wonderful information. And you'll see on the event there's a new member paddle. These are paddles that we do that we hope to have new members show up and get introduced to you guys. And they are various levels. Some of them are great for beginners, some are great for a little bit more advanced paddlers. But when you look at the description of the paddles, you'll see what levels they are and where they're going. So you'll know if it's a good paddle for you. And if you're not sure, just email the initiator. Their email address will be on the post, and ask them and have a conversation with them and see how comfortable you are. And that's true for any of the paddles. All right, anybody want to talk about any of the other? Marco.
So I'll talk about the, no, I won't talk about that. I'll talk about the pre-meeting paddle that we had from Paradise on 7/17 that's up there. It was a totally ordinary paddle. It was just driven by starting and ending near the Bill Rostenberg's house, who was holding the planning meeting. It was howlingly windy, so we only went a short part of the initial planned route. Went to Red Rock and back. It was a blast. You know, it's just bloody fun being on the bay. It's great.
And Larry, you were raising your hand too?
No.
Oh, okay.
The paddle that happened last weekend, the Baskers on the Bay, was a pretty exciting paddle. If any of you weren't there, because there was a lot of people there. It was a really big group, split into different pods, different people doing different things. I think some of us bit off a little bit more than we could chew, and we, learned about our abilities or lack thereof. But it all ended well, and I think everybody had a good time and lots of wind.
And again, for the folks that are new on Buzz, there was discussion about that paddle, which is a really amazing thing that's part of this club, is that you learn about how a paddle went, how to get a sense of where you are with where you're paddling, what conditions we have in the bay and how they change. So it's an amazing source of information for learning about paddles and what we do. And speaking of seeing crickets, last month, this month, we have the planning meeting and we have the new member paddle. And nothing else is posted on the calendar.
Well, there's a
So,
reason for that.
Yeah.
Skills Clinic.
well, Skills Clinic, that's true.
For those people that don't know what Skills Clinic, just say what it is and when. So,
Larry,
What?
come hither, my love.
while he's coming hither.
The reason Larry, hang on. The reason Larry's coming up is he's one of the coordinators of the Skills Clinic.
Yeah.
And Patty?
All I was going to say, the first thing is the planning meeting. There is no paddle with that planning meeting because it's on a Wednesday at my house here in San Francisco, and the information is there. And come, I would love to have you all come. I do have a dog too.
Your dog will be talked about.
The parking is challenging, so public transit is good. I put something on, it's on the website about how to get there as far as.
Where's?
It's, I live at 130 Clayton Street. I live right by Golden Gate Park, right by USF, between what they call, quote, NOPA, the trendy NOPA, which is, really it's the Western Addition, but they call it NOPA now. So
It's Clayton between Hayes and Grove, and it's that little corner of, right above the Panhandle and before Golden Gate Park. So,
I'm also know that acronym.
north of Panhandle area. The bottom line is they opened a restaurant, they called it that, they opened a restaurant called Nopa, and then it all went downhill or uphill depending on where. How you feel about
Let's
it.
take a vote. All those who think it went downhill, thumbs down. Uphill?
It went just fine, okay.
Larry, Skills Clinic. What is it? What's it about?
What are the dates? So this coming weekend, about 30 people and a good number of people in this room will get together and do Volunteers Weekend. And what that is, we train to be trainers. So some of the very talented people in this room will be teaching other people how to teach people through sort of hands-on techniques, and then it begins. The following weekend, there's 5 weekends for the Skills Clinic. It starts with a weekend of classroom sessions, tides and currents, I can say it, weather, navigation, you name it, we cover it, and then we start getting wet in the pool session. The next weekend, we start learning, teaching, various paddle skills, bracing, draws, various paddle skills at Berkeley and Encinal, and then we move to McNears, where we do navigational skills. We teach people to cross without getting run over by ferries, hopefully. Right, Nathan? You know,
So
Nathan
far.
comes close sometimes. And then we move on to a surf weekend. Mark and Winnie, a bunch of other people, very talented on the surf and out at Mushroom Rock, getting people going woohoo. And then we finally end up with an overnight trip in Tamales. So it's an incredible journey for those of you who are new. We really take you through from A to Z, and you get the benefit of 40 or so people in this club who are very talented instructors for weekend upon weekend, and it's really not only just a great kayaking experience, it's a great bonding experience. That's why most of us get along. I mean, all of us get along in this club. So with that, any questions? Yeah.
Is there any more room for the class?
Sorry, it is filled up. So,
But
next year, so we start recruiting in April. So it is a commitment because we require the students to, it's 5 full weekends. We're not talking about from 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock. You know, it's really a full weekend, so it's a big commitment. So it's really something we let you know in advance. But yeah, we're way into motion at this point. Thanks for asking. Sorry. However, it depends, you know, if you want to say I might be, I can be talked. Any other questions?
You can be bribed. So I have to say the most rewarding thing as a clinic participant is getting something for the first time, finally getting it. The most rewarding thing as a volunteer is watching a participant finally getting that for the first time. So it's a pretty neat program, and for folks who are new, something to look forward to next year. Jim?
I'm going to show of hands of prior Skills Clinic graduates and Skills Clinic volunteers.
Graduates? Volunteers? One of the cool things about being a participant is then giving back to the club as a volunteer. So as you could tell by the hands that went up, a lot of the people that graduated turn around and volunteer and participate as a volunteer.
How about students? How many?
Oh, students this year?
Yeah.
Raise your hand high. Woohoo!
There's
Thank
only
you.
2?
Sorry
Oh, 3?
about that.
Okay, 3? I'm trying to get to know people.
Look forward to having fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
All right. Whoops, backwards.
You are about to be brainwashed.
You're going to drink the BASK Kool-Aid. And as promised, last month I said something about Initiator Awards. What we want to do is reward folks who are consistently posting paddles and initiating paddles and taking that responsibility and having that much fun paddling with people on BASK. And Danny and Susan are a given. They have a lunch paddle every Thursday, and I have something for them, but I don't see them here, so I'll have to give
They're on
them.
the water.
They're on the water. So I'll have to give them their thing
I hope to see
later.
them tomorrow, Point in the lobby at 10:30 in the morning.
Okay,
For
For all
11
you
o'clock
retirees.
lunch
okay, we'll sort that out then. I'll catch you after the meeting or during intermission. And then for all paddles that are not Danny and Susan, we have a tie. Chris Ogilvy and Margot Otway both initiated 3 paddles in the last quarter. So, yeah. And, sorry. For your lunch kit for your next paddle.
That is awesome.
Thank you, Margot. So thank you very much for all that you've been doing. And a thank you to everybody who's been initiating paddles. So that's a list from April to June of everyone who's initiated paddles. That's a pretty neat list. So thank you, everybody. Yep. And if you're watching, thank you for all you've done. Okay, so the July new member paddle was with Morris. He's not here today. Was anybody on that paddle? How was it?
It was great. It was rougher than I had expected. Just after you come under the bridge at Otis Street, the bridge to, what is it called? Alameda Bay Farm Island. You're open to the bay, and then the waves and the wind are blowing, and it picks up in the afternoon. So we had intended to go through the Ballina Harbor, which would have added another 1.5 miles, but the winds were picking up, and I was already having, some issues with all these waves coming from different angles onto the boat. So I was getting used to that, but that's
You got
fun.
practice for the clinic.
Good practice.
We were thinking about you when we were on the Paradise Cay paddle, and we were thinking it was going to be pretty rough right there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't much for most people, but that was for me. That's the kind of conditions I see when we went around Alcatraz and Angel Island. You're way out there, and I didn't expect it to be like that over in Alameda, but it is.
Well, that's how you progress more and more, and getting on more and more of those paddles. And
Oh, I know, it's a blast.
just think what September's going to be like. Oh, backwards again. And in August, the new member paddle will be on the 27th in Tamales Bay, launching out of Nick's Cove. Right now it's with Andy. He's looking for an initiator for it, but if he can't find an initiator, then he's going to lead everybody on the Tamales Bay paddle. And if you guys hadn't noticed, we have a library back there, and Chris would like to take a few moments to talk about what we've got.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I just wanted to take an opportunity to play on the BASK Skill Clinic theme and just point out some of the books that most of you Skill Clinic students will want to look at. More Deep Trouble. It's a book that disappears a lot because new clinic students read the book and never show up at another.
Classic.
Hypothermia. Kayak navigation. Here's something for Sally. Instant wind forecast. And sea kayak rescues. This is a little bit old, but still has a lot of good information. Sea kayak safety and rescues by John Lowe, one of the legends of BASK from years ago. So the books are on the back table. Tell me which ones you want, and I'll check them out to you. And you can bring them back the next meeting or whenever you're finished with them.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. All right, so if you guys, I think we had it in the May planning meeting minutes. This is something that we've been talking about, but we are looking at doing a BASK cookbook. So we want to get everybody to contribute your favorite recipes, and Lori's spearheading the cookbook. And we're very excited to see what recipes are going to get submitted, and we'll get this all put together and make a cookbook out of it and use it as a fundraising tool for BASK. So pretty excited. And we're thinking like categories like expedition, potluck, chocolate for Hal. So desserts, sorry?
On the beach.
On the beach. So if you have categories in mind, let us know, but there'll be typical cookbook with a kayak bent. So please start submitting your recipes. I'm hard pressed to put Lori in that position right now, but I think she's the one that you're going to submit the recipes to. We'll make a formal announcement and get that on Buzz.
And the website?
And the website, yes. We'll need to get a page for that. Thank you. Okay, so although Mike and Morris are not here, Morris put together a video for us, and I forgot to change the title of this slide, so ignore that title. It is Plastic Kayak Repair with a Low-Cost Welder. And if I get this right, I'll start the video. There's no sound, so don't worry. Oh, there we go. So he's basically put together a kit of tools that you can have handy with you so that you can repair your plastic boat. And he says this is a low-cost welder, and it makes it very easy instead of having to use a blowtorch, which people do. Pardon?
Joke, and melts the boat.
And, well, it depends upon the finesse of the user.
So I suppose that the link to this is going to be on the website?
We can sort that out.
Morris taught me.
Put it on YouTube.
Yeah, put it on the YouTube channel.
Yeah. Put it on the YouTube.
No, Morris taught me how to do this as well, and yeah, the plastic welder is like $15. And if there's any Delphin owners here and who have orange ones, it's exactly the same color as all detergent container. Exact same color, it's eerie. But yeah, I first saw Morris do this technique he's showing at Wimpy's Marina, where he's like, I got a ding in my boat. So he opens up his car hood, plugs in the welder to his battery, and just starts working. And he's been doing this for quite some time, and these techniques that he's showing are super repeatable. If I can do it, anyone in this room is going to do even better. I still have all my fingers, so definitely.
And no blisters or burn marks or anything.
I said I have my fingers.
Yeah.
So yeah, that technique that he showed, watch that video a few times, and it totally works and it's very handy.
Well, we'll get that video on YouTube.
It's not a soldering iron. It's cheaper, and the head is massive compared to a soldering iron, but similar.
Well, he did have trouble with the audio on that. I'll see if he can sort it out and get audio on it so he can talk y'all through it, and then we'll get it on YouTube. All right. So the meeting schedules, just as a reminder of what we've got coming up. September, we're not going to have a meeting because we're going to be enjoying our time at Mendo. And then we're going to have a meeting in November. Usually we don't, but since we're not having it in September, we will have one in November. And the 2017 dates have finally been confirmed, so we'll get those posted next time around. And generally, it's the last Wednesday of every month, so we'll be all sorted back on track there.
For the new people, what's Mendo mean?
Ken.
Well, it's an annual event that I kind of host. I've been doing it for about 22 years. It's up at Mendocino. It's a long weekend, and we have we get a big exclusive area at Van Dam, and it's I think there's 1 or 2 campsites open right now, but there's probably you can probably camp with somebody else. I think there's an information sheet that's fairly up to date online. So, and it's, I don't know the dates, but it's near the end of September. So it's 20th or 22nd, something like that.
Yes.
Hey, Ken, is the spreadsheet on there this year? Last year you had an Excel sheet that showed all the campsites.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
I didn't see it.
The spreadsheet is still there. We'll post another link here on this.
Sorry?
The spreadsheet is still there for this year. We'll post it on the Woodcon Buzz.
Okay, cool. For the Mendo campsites? Okay.
I'd also like to point out to people who are considering joining, there's a cocktail party every year.
Yeah.
The cocktails are all free. So for the price of your membership, you've already paid for all your drinks. So if all you get is 2 rounds of free drinks at Mendo,
And they're really good.
and that's what you pay your $35 or whatever for, it's a pretty screaming deal.
And it started with a legend. So
A
the
myth,
cocktail
really.
party
It started with a
started for
birthday.
Nathan's 40th birthday with Krista somehow magically hiding all the booze in the bottom of their Prius without him knowing.
2 people.
I still don't
all
know
that
how she
time
did that.
In Prius, and enough alcohol for the entire camp.
Which is
to
generally
celebrate
around 100
Nathan's
people.
birthday.
I think I was already drinking by then, that's why I didn't notice.
Yeah.
So when he says cocktails, that is a complete.
It's not fair.
These are exquisite, out of this world drinks that he comes up with every year. You will never find them anywhere else, I don't think.
It's not going to be a Manhattan or a martini.
No.
It's going to be a special recipe. And
I was just trying to
They're
call out the
awesome.
value in having such low membership dues. Was my
Yeah, well, okay, that works.
That works for us.
And then Saturday night, we have a potluck. So we're at the Van Dam campground, and we take up the whole upper ring of the campground, and we converge on one of the campsites and have a potluck on Saturday night. So there's fun activity on the water, cocktails on Friday, potluck, and generally more cocktails on Saturday, and if you survive, paddling on Sunday. So there's a hand somewhere.
Well, I was just gonna say, I didn't think you'd mention it, but in between we paddle.
Yeah, and Sundays mornings paddle is usually the survivor's paddle.
It's not necessary, though.
Ken didn't mention this, but it's actually a week-long event. He reserved the campground for an entire week.
Is it for a full week?
Most of the stuff goes from Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah, if you want to, I think
Tuesday
you can
to
occupy it Monday or Tuesday. It says on the website.
It's Tuesday.
All the way through Monday.
All the way through till Sunday night or, no, Monday.
Monday morning, yeah.
And if you have the time to be there more days, one of the great advantages is being able to pick your days, your place, and your conditions. Because conditions there sometimes on the prime time of the weekend are not so good. And whereas the paddling earlier in the week has been great.
Well, and with all the people that are going to be there, you pretty much can pick your paddle. So there's various levels of paddles, which is amazing.
Probably point out to those who haven't been up there that it's not just a party, it's some of the most spectacular kayaks that you can find.
Yeah, it's gorgeous
Absolutely.
up there. Absolutely gorgeous.
The Disneyland of sea kayaking.
With a pour over called Disney. So in August, we'll have Bill Keener speaking about porpoises, dolphins, and whales in San Francisco, which Lorinda, where is she, can tell us has been quite a sight. I tried to get your video up here, and I just wasn't able to get it up here on time. But if you haven't seen it, 10 million other people have. So, and it's been on the news.
It'll be linked on YouTube when I get around to it.
Oh, good.
Well,
Okay.
as the speaker seekers, Bill Keener, who I'd already booked, called me or emailed me and said, "Hey, I hear this Lorinda character is a Basker. Can you set me up and put me in contact with her?" So I don't think he's called you yet, but he'll probably include some fine video.
I expect video footage will be on there, yeah. So it's actually quite amazing. Was it in the bay?
It was just south of Angel Island.
Okay.
Don Fleming was there too.
And that was Dick Ryan that was in the shot.
Mallory and Holly Smith, also Baskers.
Okay, yeah, it was pretty, basically, they got a lunch feeding show with 3 whales? 4. Good God, amazing.
And we've never even heard of it happening in the bay before.
Well, we've had them in the bay, and I saw some lunch feeding in Half Moon Bay, but
Yeah,
never
South Bay.
seen that before.
Monterey Bay.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, you see the whales, tiny whales. We've been seeing whales since Humphrey and earlier, but not lunch feeding.
And then today, we have Aaron Blackwood, who's right over here, and
she's
she's going to be talking about. I saw her on the laptop, and I'm like, I bet that's Erin. And she's going to be talking about the environmental research in San Francisco Bay and beyond. I put a little nugget in the announcement about. Did you see the algae bloom in Sausalito, where Shoemaker Beach is?
No, I didn't see the news about that, but there was one in Discovery Bay that one of our scientists was.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Something that's
Well, so we've got that to look forward to shortly. And it is intermission, and normally we have pizza and